This this girl. Yeah, this is crazy, y'all. Send me a request too, and just in case. I sent you an invite, but I know on Instagram. We just have to be patient. It started to bring on, and then got cut off. Okay, let's try it again. There you go.
Man, oh man, my brother. And I know Discreet's going to join us here very momentarily. I'll let him know what was going on. So we just had to be patient with it, man. That's all. What up, Max 17? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Bet it up.
Man.
Bet it up, brother.
You know, we going to make it a way somehow, some way. You know what I mean? It's going to happen some way. You know, we can't stop the show.
No, we got to keep going, man. We got to keep going.
This is why we have these different platforms to make it possible for the people. You know,
we make it work, man.
Yes, you know, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. Man. Well, I'm on live when we outside, man. You know what I'm saying?
we are literally outside with Prentiss Banks today, man. So I appreciate it. You know, Instagram's being a little fool. We're gonna get that corrected on our end. But the show must go on one way or the other. So
right.
I appreciate you getting the platform for the three of us to connect and have a conversation today. Discreet will be popping in here soon. But no, man, we wanted to take the opportunity, right, to have the conversation with you. Because you've got a story, man, and you know, on top of the story that you're literally living right now, which is an unfortunate one, but I know you've at least embraced the light that comes with it, right? Which, you know, a lot of people would not look at it necessarily as a lot of light to be seen, but from the time that I've known you so far, man, you've always been cheerful. Any picture, anytime I see you, got a smile on your face. And that's what it's about, man, right? And I respect and I appreciate that about you. And it reminds me when we spoke back in, it would have been September with our brother, OG Dooney. You know, he spent 31 years confined as well, right? And the way he had put it to us is like, you know, despite the fact that I was confined, I was never in prison because it's a mindset. It's a mindset, right? And that's one thing that I feel from you, just the positivity that I continue to get from you as well. It's a blessing, it's a privilege, it's an honor to be associated and be able to have conversations with individuals like yourself as well. You know,
same here, man. It's such a blessing to come in contact with like mind, right? And just to interact with the understanding of healing. You know what I mean? Not only healing, clarity.
Correct.
And okay, here's the screen here.
Yeah, no, Discreet popped in.
Yeah, I'm pulling him up right now. Yeah, and just, you know, the level of clarity, a level of grace. Hey!
What up, Discreet?
I made it.
What's How you doing today?
I'm good, man.
Man, it's a blessing. I was telling you, the brother said, man, it's a blessing. It's a true blessing, man, to be here and share this live with you guys. And, you know, we outside, you know, and I'm inside, and we just making it all together. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We make it work. It's about the conversation. That's what it's always about.
Somehow, some way, we will make it work.
We always will.
Yes.
We'll clean up what we need to on the back end, for the rest of the week going forward. But again, we weren't going to keep the people from the dope conversation that we already had planned out here with you today, man.
Right.
So I'll give a quick little, we'll just kind of do it the way that we normally do it. I'll kind of just give a little quick introduction of you, and then what we always like to do, Prentiss, is let you, in your own words, let the people outside know, if they're not familiar with you, who you are in your own words. And then, as you know, well enough at this point, everything we're going to talk about is completely unscripted. So
unscripted.
we're just going to roll with it. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, first off, we thank y'all for tapping in. We thank Prentiss for allowing us to come to his platform today with the technical difficulties that we were having on our Instagram. But we're here, we're outside, and that's what it's about. And for anybody that doesn't know our guest, I know people are going to be tapping in that are very familiar with you, Prentiss. This individual that we're talking with today, Prentiss Banks, individual who's wrongly convicted of something he did not do 34 years ago at the age of 18. No priors, no issues at all with the law. And, here he is 34 years later, still sitting confined for something that he did not do. And there's even more to that. And it may come up. We'll just see where the conversation goes today, ultimately, right? So, with that said, Prentiss, I'm going to turn it over to you, man, and let the people know outside, who you are, what it is, and we'll just flow from there, bro.
Hey, I'm Prentiss Banks. I'm currently incarcerated, been incarcerated 34 years on a life without the possibility of parole, wrongly convicted. I'm out of Riverside County, the Inland Empire area. And man, it's my honor to come on here and talk to y'all about my journey, and how did we get here? And the greater understandings of how I leveled my mindset up to be the man that I am today, and hopefully the information that I provide today helps the next generation, because that's my ultimate goal. That's my purpose. My purpose is changing the mindsets of the next generation, and as much as we want to see something new, we have to first change the narrative that was presented, and the narrative that we've been given is miseducation of manhood, and I am honored to be a true representative of a healed man, and being able to articulate what a healed man looks like and how it is operated, and know that my vulnerabilities that I'm about to express on this live is not my weaknesses. It's my strength. You know what I mean? And so it's definitely a beautiful thing coming into today. I was so excited to come here today, you know what I mean? And like I said, we had the little glitches, but the creator will not allow something that, that the people need to be prevented. So let's, we can get into it. As you know, I'm a young man. When I came to prison, I came at the age of 18 from a small town called Paris, California. Wasn't too much going on in that community. A lot of isolation, more farming, early 1980s surrounding situation, cows, chicken, goats, and, throw a little lettuce at the back door. You got some rabbits, and, the culture and environment was, what it is today. A lot of technology stuff that's going on today wasn't back then, I had a lot of tight-knit friends that, I hung around. We, it was back in the days, we used to go skating rings and, house parties and these type of things. So one night I got called, said, hey man, we're finna go on a house party. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting dressed. I'm excited. I'm going to go see the ladies. We're finna hang out, do our thing. And, next thing you know, they picked me up in a vehicle. Unknown to me, that vehicle, they had robbed someone previously and picking me up. And in that robbery, they killed somebody. From my understanding, it wasn't an intentional killing. It was a robbery that just went bad, and it was a tussle over the gun. And the gun went off in an accident, and he killed the man. But they didn't tell me that they done that. So when I get in the vehicle, and I'm like, we riding around. I'm having fun, you know, and next thing we know, we get in a high-speed chase, and the vehicle, we get arrested. Unknown to me, we all get charged with felony murder. And I'm like, what is felony murder? I'm like, at an 18-year-old kid, I'm like, what is felony murder? I don't understand that language of what felony murder is. And, you know, we all in, you know, arraignment. We get arraigned. We go to municipal court. They charge us with felony murder, 3 counts of robbery, 1 murder. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? What is going on? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they give us our attorneys, you know, they give us our attorneys. And I'm like, okay, I'm seeing them get paid attorneys. You know, one get a state appointed and one, you know, the other guy, he had a family member that was attorney, so he had a paid attorney. They gave me an attorney unknown to me that was only 2 years into practice when he took my case. He was underqualified to handle a death penalty case at that time because they were seeking death on me and all of us at that time. So as we processed through the court systems and we got to the Superior Court, I kept getting information from my lawyers saying, hey, they trying to sever their cases from you. And I'm like, well, why would you do that when we all have the same situation? You know what I mean? The judge ordered a severance of our cases. And in that severance, I was the last person to go to trial. The first person went to trial, he got acquitted of the murder and got a gun and a robbery. He got 5 years. The other guy, he took a voluntary manslaughter deal. He got 13 years with a gun and a robbery and said someone else is the principal. I went to trial and they gave me life without the possibility of parole plus 9 years with no gun.
What?
And, you know, in the course of it, I didn't really understand like the trial aspect of it because when we were doing the trial and picking up the trial, my case was publicized to the public, which I didn't know at that time during the course of my trial. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm seeing and my family's telling me, hey, it's a lot of stuff going on that's with this case, you know, we don't agree with. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And they telling me like, hey, these guys didn't literally put this case on you. And they making it seem like you was the principal that created or caused the harm. I'm like, wow. And then the news people put my name out there as if I was the actual trigger man in the case. So during the jury selection, the jury was actually the people that was getting selected actually read the news article in my case. And one excused themselves from my case because he said he would have a bias against the actual case. And I'm like, okay, how is this going to work? So we brought it to the court's attention and the court's like, well, I'm going to pull the jury and see who all have read. And if they didn't read it, then we proceed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, that's not going to work. You know what I mean? Because they're going to say they didn't read it. You know what I mean? So he pulled the jury. The jury said, no, we ain't read it. So he made us proceed with the actual trial. So going through the course of the trial, the jury had a lot of issues. They had that they could never put the gun in my hand. So they kept coming back asking the judge, how do we put a gun in somebody's hand when there was never a ballistics test done? No evidence support that he had the gun. There's nothing saying that he was the trigger man. So then they came back and asked the question, well, how much weight do we put towards ballistics? Because ballistic now brings the weapon involved. The judge told them to disregard ballistics because there is no, it was never brought into evidence.
Huh?
So how do you deliberate on a case that don't have ballistics associated with it?
My head's spinning.
Discreet.
So the jury,
Hold on. Hold that thought for me, real quick, Prentiss.
This is unbelievable.
I want to talk about that real quick. And Discreet, no different when we were speaking with Jay Burton, last week. It's very similar. Unfortunately, the system here in America, broken would be putting it nicely. Corrupt would be putting it properly.
Corruption definitely comes to mind.
It's corruption. It's corruption because look at it. You have an 18-year-old individual, as Prentiss Banks was at that time,
Jumped into the back of a car. That's all you did.
You know what? In America, Discreet, there's a good old saying, you know, where essentially, you know, being a black man in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's why I'm thinking, would I be able to ask, were the other two guys white or black?
They was black. They was black.
Oh,
definitely black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they had more resources, should I say, than I did.
Oh, yeah. Hence the lawyers. Yeah.
So who are you going to go after? You're going to go after what's perceived as the weaker individual in this case.
Right.
And if you're just looking at the lawyer standpoint and what somebody has to bring to a trial, especially of this magnitude, you're talking, you're not even talking thousands of dollars. You're getting into the fact of probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. You're definitely easily touching six figures.
Yeah.
And you know, unless you know, I don't know many 18-year-olds that I've known in my life, unless they are still spoon-fed, that can't afford that.
Right.
And you know, unfortunately, the politics that are, and we see it going on in Discreet. It's very always interesting to have conversations about the politics here in America, right? We see what the politics are playing out as now. Like it is as forefront as it's been in a very, 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 very long time. Is how corrupt this system is. Right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and when I talk politics, I'm not just talking Democrats or Republicans. Right. That's what everybody knows politics to be. But there's also politics at the local level, at the county level, at the state level. And at the end of the day, somebody's got to win. Right. Which means somebody's got to lose in this game of politics. And unfortunately and sadly, Prentiss was the one. I wouldn't even say you lost per se, because that's the wrong word to use. You were the sacrificial lamb, let's put it, for this politics in your city, your county, your area, right? And it's just wrong. But it's a systematic oppression that has been set up in this country. That's exactly what it is, Discreet, and it's disgusting.
Honestly, Prentiss is talking, and I like. It's about 3 times where I'm just like in shock. I'm just like, that is unfucking real. But yeah, let's let him continue, because I know it's an unfortunate story, but it's a story.
Right. So, you know, as an 18-year-old kid now, trying to process all this information in my head of being held accountable for a crime I never committed, you know, and facing death, you know, I was scared, you know, a lot going on through my mind. I'm watching my family squander, you know, trying to figure out, like, what is going on, you know, and they like, hey, they trying to question it. Did he do it, or was he not involved? Or, you know, because the way the legal system's set up, they make your family feel like you was the perpetrator, or they make it seem like if you was involved and you knowingly did it, or you knowingly participated in something that you did not ever have a clue to, you know?
Yep.
So, as you know, like I said, as we processed the court, the jury that we have finally selected, because the jury that I was getting, the judge and the DA kept kicking off all the black jurors. So I ended up with an all not black jury. I had no black jurors on my panel. But as we would process, the jury kept coming back, you know, and deliberating and saying, hey, we can't put the gun. So the jury came back on 11-1 verdict, saying that I never had, nor did I use a gun at the time of the crime. But based on the way the law is written under the felony murder rule, they didn't need a gun. All they had to do was prove that a robbery happened and a murder attaches to the robbery with no defense, and they gave me life without the possibility of parole plus 9 years. So I'm sitting in jail, but no gun, no ballistics, no evidence, no identifications that identify me as ever being at the scene of the crime, nothing that attaches me, only based on circumstantial evidence. And what's amazing about what I've learned over the years is that 6 members of the jury, 4 of them was robbery victims or victims of robbery or been burglarized.
They should have been kicked off the jury.
Dealing with a burglary case or a robbery case, right? One was an NRA member, and the other one, he stated that he was familiar with the scene of the crime later in the reports. And I'm like, well, that's not a fair hearing. That's not a fair hearing of my peers, because these are people that has been victimized, which now being triggered, just hearing the information of something that has happened to them in the past. So now it's more of a, okay, I didn't catch the guys that did it to me, but I have somebody that we can hold accountable for something that happened to me. You know, and I'm a product of that. You know, now, and I'm like, wow, I was just like mind blown of all the things that has happened to me, because it's like, how do you hold me accountable for something that I did not do? You know, you're here to look at the evidence, and the evidence does not support what it is that's being presented to you to find me guilty. But based on personal life experiences, you judge and prejudge me based on that as my juror. So, and I'm like, okay, so when we got the process known, when they found me guilty, and I'm like, okay, we here, I'm guilty. All the air in the lungs, and my lungs just came out. You know, I'm like, man, you know, I couldn't believe it. My parents, my grandparents, everybody's like crying, going through it. You know, I'm like, man, this is not cool. You know, and I'm watching the important people in my life really crumble right before my eyes. You know, and I'm like, the DA that was in my case went after me such in a harsh way that, as if I was a career criminal. This is my first time ever having any kind of contact with the law, interaction with the court systems, first time ever being incarcerated, and you give a person life without the possibility of parole as if I am a menace to society. Like, I can never be rehabilitated from 18 years old.
And the evidence just isn't there, is it?
Well, not only is it not there, Discreet, but it's circumstantial. There's no hard, concrete evidence.
I'm honestly, I'm like, I can't believe it.
Welcome to America, Discreet.
Yeah, right. I'm shocked.
It's you know, it's unfortunate, because this is, you know, there are many Prentiss Banks out there. There are many Jay Burns out there. There are many Monster Yos out there, sadly. And it's due to the fact that somebody has to be held accountable, right? Because you got to think about things like this as well. Some of these instances when they happen, and I'm not saying Prentiss's were, but you got to think about some of these district attorneys. Some of these things are going on when it's around election time. Or when they're maybe coming up for election. So here's how the game is played in the game of politics at that local level. They're looking around, what do my constituents in my area want? What do they stand for? Well, I'm going to have to stand for the same thing. If I'm asking for their vote, I need to give them a reason for me to go ahead and vote for this individual. So
sacrificing human lives is savage. Do you know what I mean?
It's disgusting is what it is.
Savage. Like, I know Prentiss has still got his life as such, but his life got taken away from him in the sense that 34 years behind bars for something he didn't do. I cannot figure out how some people's brains work. We're going to do this to satisfy what we need. Yeah, but that person's going to die. Yep, well, so be it. How the fuck does that, like, I don't get it. Like, it's fucking crazy.
It's unfortunate. Right, so, before we move on next, real quick, Prentiss, somebody had a comment in the questions that were asking about the counterparts that were a part of this trial with you that had some opportunity and funds for lawyers. Did they experience the same fate as you when it comes to sentencing, or did they get off on, you know, quote unquote lighter type of sentences?
No, they got off on a lighter type of sentence. One of them got acquitted of the murder and got found guilty of a robbery. He got 5 years and served half time of that. The other one took a deal for voluntary manslaughter. He got 13 years, pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter with a gun, and he got 13 years, and he did half of that. And they've been on the streets ever since. Living their life, living their family.
Yeah. And I'm guessing, it was one of them two that were responsible.
Well, one of the guys that actually did the case, he recently passed away. From what it came to my understanding, that he passed away. So that is no longer, a resource to now reach out to and say, hey, look, it's time to come and tell the truth about the situation, and so I can come home. So now we have to base everything off of evidence, and unfortunately, the way the system works, it bases everything on facts and truth, right? So lately, when I've been filing my appeals and everything, and I'm showing that, I'm factually innocent, I'm actually, these are the things that showing, the court is telling me, well, these are harmless errors that we made a mistake on. We made a mistake on not giving you the introduction of felony murder. We made a mistake on denying you the opportunity to go per se, which is represent yourself, because the attorney that I had, I was trying to get rid of him because he wasn't representing me correctly. We denied it based upon that the coerced things that you've been through in life. We denied it based on that because the law says that we can do that. So it's like everything that I have appealed to the courts, they disregarded, because, like you said, I came into jail at the time of right before the Rodney King riots. So February 11, 1991, there was a big political movement going on at that time with the Rodney King situation. And that amplified my case into something that may be political now. And now being 34 years later, I don't know if the DA that I had in my case might be running for Attorney General. I do know that the judge that I had in my case passed away. One of the detectives in my case passed away, and they can literally come back and speak the truth, and they won't not speak the truth, So now what I've been doing a lot of researching. I've been doing a lot of self-building, rebuilding, which gives me better an understanding of insight of what it is that I need to take my emotions out the case. So I can have a better, clear understanding of what I'm looking at. Because before, over the years, I was so emotional that I did not do this. I'm missing things in my own case. You know what I mean? And when I went back over the reports, I learned that the DA paid one of the witnesses to come in by canceling out their traffic tickets and other items that they had to do to force them to come to the courtroom. You know what I mean? So if I was to pay off a witness to come say on my behalf, that would have been tampering with witnesses, evidence, but they can do it by canceling out traffic warrants and citations and stuff. You know what I mean? So when we came into this new element of laws that they have now, they're like, well, if you're not the actual shooter, these are the new laws that come in place. Being an 18-year-old kid, if you were juvenile, you were charged with felony murder, just submit 1179, 1437. I filed a 1437 in court, telling the judge that, hey, I'm charged with felony murder. I'm not the actual shooter. I need an evidentiary hearing. Where the judge took it upon himself and say, hey, I'm denying your case on the prima facie stage because you are not entitled to it. Now, the attorney that they gave me at the time to represent the case, he was like, what do you mean he's not entitled? Well, based upon the 1994 Court of Opinion from 1994, we're going to enter that into the record, and we're going to deny it under prima facie and not give him an evidentiary hearing to hear the evidence and close. So I'm like, whoa. So we immediately put in an appeal over this matter, and the matter went all the way up to courts. Every judge agreed that the judge was out of pocket, that he should have ordered me an evidentiary hearing to at least hear the facts of what the evidence is. And they denied that, upholding the integrity of the judge that denied it. So when we went through this process, the lawyer and the appellate attorney that I had, they exposed a lot of more evidence to me. And in that evidence, they showed that the judge that sentenced me he stated that at the time of the commission of crime, intent to kill was not an element. So if intent to kill is not an element, it does not raise to a felony murder conviction.
Mm-hmm.
It stays within the first degree, second degree, lesser offense type area, right? So how did he get me life without? And I'm like, okay. Then the attorney, the appellate attorney, she said, well, what I'm noticing that is something missing. And I'm like, what is missing? She said, well, in 2008, it was a big case of 240 cases. They destroyed all your evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Your exhibits, the gun, the witness, I mean, everything that associates, which can prove your actual innocence, they destroyed it. The court ordered it to be destroyed. So here it is now, a young man, life without, no physical evidence anymore now to say, hey, I'm actually innocent, that you can test to show my actual innocence, because the court's now granted a destruction of that property. So now everything I'm basing my case on is what the transcripts say. And it's like, how do you fight something that is a narrative that has already been presented in a way that fits their narrative? Now I have to redesign the whole narrative of what it is that they're presenting and somehow match a new description to it and have society understand the separation of the two. And it's
well, you're right, because
without proof.
It is because the court has already, the court system, and I'm a straight up, I'm gonna call it what it is. The conspiracy that is behind your scenario going on right now, that's exactly what it is. And a conspiracy is when a bunch of people get together and conspire to do something to get a desired solution of what they're looking for. So the unfortunate thing is, when it is very fucked up, Discreet. And again, here comes the politics, and here comes the culture. Shout out to Ghetto Glory, Ghetto to Glory. Talking about the culture and the politics of it. The culture and the politics involved in this. There were people at the lawyer level, the judge level, the appellate level, and I don't need any facts to know this shit. And I don't know which ones were involved, but I do know that there were multiple people that conspired to cover all of this shit up. That way, when Prentiss goes through the appellate process, or he's trying to just appeal his case, as he is even today, to go through and prove his innocence and exonerate himself, let alone being freed from imprisonment, it's also not having that stigma attached to your name, right? And I know this to be true, Discreet. And we talked about it briefly. I don't know if it was Jay or with Monster Yo, because I've got a brother who had 11 years old. 11 years old. Sopping wet. This cat was 65 pounds, maybe at 11 years old. Okay. Now I want to give you some context real quick before I tell you this scenario, because it comes down to the politics and bullshit of this. This individual that I'm speaking of has, I don't want to say too much, but I have no concerns about this individual, and I'm gonna just leave it at that, just to respect his privacy. But I'll tell you the story. 11 years old, 65 pounds, sopping wet at the time. Honestly, now he might be 100 pounds sopping wet now, today, as an adult, right? 11 years old. This kid got put away into juvie at 11 years old because the sheriffs charged him as an 11-year-old with shooting his mother, his father, his brother, his sister, and stabbing his sister. So that, and now, mind you, we're talking two grown adults, and we're talking a couple siblings that were older than him. So you're going to tell me, like seriously, this is a real question. You're going to tell me that an 11-year-old basically offed his entire family? Come on, bro. And it's crazy, because when we talk about evidence, as Prentiss is in this conversation, the evidence speaks to it was just not possible. Like literally, like a gun expert came in and said, based on the gun that was used and what the ballistics say, there's no way that this 11-year-old would have been able to pull the trigger. Yet this 11-year-old ended up going away And it's ruined his life, just like it's ruined Prentiss's life, just like it's ruined the Jay Burtons and the Monster Yos, and all because again, fuck man, it's really messed up because there are so many of these cases out there because the agenda for people at the county, the state, it's all politics, man. Discreet. Yeah. It's the agenda. Yeah. Yo, for real, the real Mike Bundy, for real, 11 years old. And I call him the uncle to my daughter. Like, I have no concerns about this individual at all. No, like I have no concerns about Prentiss. I would welcome Prentiss into my home as a guest to stay in my home as long as needed.
You can tell he's got a good heart.
like, come on, bro. It's fucked up. And these stories need to be, they need to be told. They need to be told as no different than to put the guns down. These messages need to be told because it's the culture of mental health. It's the culture of getting over on people. It's the culture of here. I'm a firm believer, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, Prentiss. Something that I refer to as I think I have to maybe change the wording of it to class wars, if you will. But originally it came up to me culture wars, right? In the sense that, and it's everything. I mean, and that's why I said I think I got to change it to class wars, right? Because we're talking about, different socioeconomic classes. We're talking about different religious classes. We're talking about, as people like to point it out, me, I'm colorblind, but the different skin colors that people have, all these different groups that are broken up. Here's the deal. Here's my hypothesis, and then I'm going to open it up to you, Prentiss, Discreet. I certainly want your thoughts on it as well. And then anybody, again, appreciate everybody tapping in with us today and commenting. I'm curious what your thoughts are as well. Whoever's running this whole thing, right? Okay, whoever's running this whole thing that we're living in, it is a system that is set up to completely conquer and divide us by separating us into different groups. Because then, when you start to put different groups against each other, whether it's the blacks against the Mexicans, the whites against the blacks, the Asians against whoever, you're segregating certain groups now. That's all made up. Yes, there's Asians. Yes, there's melanated people. Yes, there's non-melanated people. But where did all this wording and classification come from? Let's think about that for a second. And why did it come about? It came about because whoever's running the injustices of this motherfucking world did that strategically way back in the motherfucking day. That way they can help fund their system of what they're looking to set up short-term and long-term alike. Because if you start to pit people against each other, whether it's different economic classes or religious classes, well, what happens? They start to take care of things for you, right? You dangle the carrot. It's like Hunger Games. Yeah. It's like Hunger Games, honestly. And the real Mike Bundy knows what's up. He said, yes, brother, it's all in the plan, divide and conquer. Well, one of the easiest ways that you can do it without having to put any effort is that in the beginning, don't get me wrong, in the beginning, there's some effort to set up this system, right? But after that, once you just start forever classifying a group of people or these different groups of people and pitting them against each other, they're going to start taking care of them, each other. Yeah, facts, Eric Banks. It's rich against poor. It's Muslims versus Catholics versus Jewish people.
I feel it goes back to you probably should have heard of it before. MK Ultra. All that shit.
No.
It's like you've not heard of MK Ultra. It's like this is a code name for like an undercover, just a whole control thing. They've got a mind control and but it's known as MK Ultra, where they're just trying to control the world. They've got to do certain things to make the world turn exactly how they want to. But honestly, both of you, have you heard about that, Prentiss, MK Ultra?
No, I haven't heard about MK Ultra.
Honestly, get on Google.
We're going to have to do some research.
Yeah, MK Ultra.
Nah, we'll be doing some research. But with that said, Prentiss, what are your thoughts on the comments that I just made? Whether you want to call it, class wars, culture wars, or just the general premise of pitting groups of people against each other, very similar to that of the Hunger Games movie series that's out there.
I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry, the dog's going crazy.
Okay. Well, what I have learned is that if if you can get in the minds of the people, right?
Yeah.
And create a narrative for them to believe. And in that narrative, you can now change the imagery and the trajectory of how people feel about each other.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if I have a narrative of that you as a person is going to live in a impoverished neighborhood, I'm going to make the environment feel that way, which now makes your mind participate in that activity to believe that I'm never going to come out of this structure of an environment because it's not, I don't see anything opposite of that.
Yep.
And it's called, it's deal with the redlining, you know.
Oh, very much so.
Because
very much so.
You cannot afford to be in this area because it's so, the prices are so high. So we're going to leave you in this base area, tucked in a corner to where we don't have to deal with you. And we're going to make it so much poverty, having so much in a place of poverty to the point that you're now feeding off each other. And that is a dangerous thing because when you're feeding off each other, you don't see value in that person anymore, nor do you hold value in yourself. So now it's just a world of corruption. It's a world of anything that everything goes. And what the police and the politician does, they put limited resource of protection in that area to make sure that the focus is now my agenda to say, I need to save these people. In reality, you created the structure of what you now saying you need to save, which you're never going to put the resources there, because if you do and you make change, then what are you going to now utilize as a resource to say, or use as a platform to now go to the next level in your politician, as a politician? You can't. Exactly. Because the healed people you created to be hurt is now healed, and they are now not processing the same structure anymore. They're elevating in life, and they don't want you to elevate.
No.
Yep.
They don't want you to be aware or conscious of anything that they're doing. Everything that we have been given in life has been the opposite of what the truth is. And if you look at the culture of today, the truth is now being so unveiled to us of really what life is, what the system is, what the laws is, what, you know, we sit here, we believe that we are operating from a law in our cities, in our communities, right? People have been given a narrative that the policy and procedure that you operate from in your cities and your communities is law. No, that is administrative law. The constitutional rights is law.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Illegal search and seizure under the Constitution, the 4th Amendment, the 5th Amendment, the 6th Amendment, all the way to the 14th Amendment, all of them are laws that they cannot impede on. But they made you believe that pulling you over with a traffic ticket is breaking the law.
Yeah.
It's not breaking the law. It's breaking a policy and procedure that the community or the civilians of that community said this is something that we're going to put as an ordinance to make sure we all safe. But it's not law.
Like,
you see what I'm saying?
Well,
yeah.
I think about this too while we're talking about this topic as a whole. I saw something last night where out of, pretty much, give or take, out of everybody in the world, essentially, 85% of the world are followers, 10% of the world are leaders, and 5% are observers, right? So to everything that Prentiss was just mentioning there, as we're talking about the idea and thought of class wars, culture wars, however you want to word it, which is simply just the dividing of groups of peoples and pitting them against each other one way or the other. You have 85% of the world population following something that they believe to be true. Man, that's one hell of an uphill battle that we're fighting.
Yeah. I mean, on this subject, it will take it off a little bit, but I can see a chemtrail above your head, right? Now, you know the pineal gland, right? Our third eye, if you like, right? Now, two of the things that really fucks that up and stops it becoming useful, if you like, aluminum, right, and fluoride.
Yep, I've heard this as well. Yep.
Right, they flood our water with fluoride, and they put fucking these planes in the sky that are putting out all this aluminum. So it must be fucking true, because they're, the people say, oh, that's a load of bullshit. Why are they trying to suppress it then? Why are they trying to do that? And I think it's all related to this shit. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Just look at it. Let's take a look at this, right? In a whole different perspective. The fathers of our community, the fathers in the homes, right? Generational situations of fathers, right? If I can destroy the element of the strength of a father, and the father to properly educate his son or his children, then what happens? Then I, as the ward of the state, have to come in and now play father figure or mother to your child, right? So now imagine being educated improperly to function in a way of men, right? Yeah. And what I mean by that is, as a man, it took me, I'm 53 years old now, from 18 to 53, or from birth to 53, it took me that long to understand who I am, what I am, and the decisions that I have now made over my life. Yeah. Right? So I literally had to go back to at birth and say, the child that I see presently in my vision, I now am responsible for. So that kid that cried out, that kid that never was taught, that kid that felt abandonment, that kid that felt isolated, that kid that never felt like he was part of any family or a community or anything, I have now come to understand that the experiences that he had experienced wasn't his. His experiences was the man of his community, of his homes. And each one of them individuals was hurt by their fathers and fathers and fathers, because it was a generational curse. Mm-hmm. So now that we have men in the state of being a victim, right? They are not going to take responsibility of their communities. They're not going to take responsibility of their homes. They're not going to take responsibility of anything, because pity me. Why nobody looked after me? Why nobody did this for me? Or why nobody, when I was going through this, it's no accountability. Yeah. Right?
No, there's not. It comes. Sorry. Go ahead.
So when we understand why our communities is the way it is, when we understand why the legal system is the way it is, because the system has now devalued the mind of us to understand we fear going into the courts. Yeah. Any man that loves his son will walk up in that courtroom as if he was if that was him, with pride, and say, you know what? I'm going to fight for my son as hard as I'm going to fight as he's going to be fought for. Yep. And I'm going to research the evidence. I'm going to do everything I can to get this done, to make sure that he has his best defense. But most people don't even know logistic language. So as they sit in the courts, they listen to what's going on in the courts, they're not understanding half of the stuff being said. But we're going to postpone this till 6 months from now. You know what I mean? I knew for my family didn't know logistic language.
No, and that's done by design. It comes to the programming, like what you're talking about right now. It reminds me.
They don't want you to understand, do they?
No, they don't. And what it's reminding me of, what we're talking about, right now, is it literally jumps me to X-Rated's track. Shout out to X-Rated. His track called CPS, right? Child Protective Services. I'm pretty sure that's the track. But in the track that I'm speaking of, he talks specifically to what you were just mentioning on a couple minutes ago, Prentiss, when you're discounting the patriarch and the family. In any community of any color, but especially the ones when you were talking about redlining and lower income areas as a whole. Let's talk about it from a socioeconomic standpoint. You take away the father out of the home. Well, now, like you were talking about, you start to make the family dependent on the city, the state. Because if you need to depend on somebody, if you can't depend on yourself, and if the father's not there, well, who do you have? If you got a mother raising a group of kids and she can't afford to raise that group of kids. Well, what's out there? It's the programmed funds that are available to these individuals. And it's designed in a way, like X said in that track, to keep the father out of the home. Because if you take the patriarch out of the home, you take away the foundational belief of what family is and how we're supposed to move forward as a human race. Human race. Human race. All right? And the other thing that it makes me think, and I want to be very clear to give context to what I'm about to say. I am in no way, shape, or form comparing what I'm about to talk about and my experiences in life to that of Prentiss's, to Prentiss's or the Jay Burtons or the Fremont CEOs or anybody out there. But when we talk about the programming, right, let's look at it from this perspective. Prentiss was put into the program of this fucked up and corrupt justice system and this programming that's already been laid out. No different than I, growing up, from a societal standpoint, was told, go to school, go to college, get your degree, go work that 9 to 5. That 9 to 5 is as much programming as anything else in this world as well. I've been an entrepreneur now for 7 years. And very similar to how Prentiss was talking about, the last 4 years, since, I'm an alcoholic. I haven't drank any alcohol in almost 4 years at this point, right? But I will always be an alcoholic, and I got to win every single day at a time. But what society told me to do and go work that 9 to 5, it's a dead end. It's really a dead end because you're just a number. You're just a number when it comes down to it.
They want you to build their infrastructure.
That's exactly what it is, Discreet. Some people are put into the programming in the system like Prentiss was.
Yeah.
Some people are programmed in over a long period of time to go into a scenario of what I did, which was horrible for me. It was horrible at the end of the day. It brought me nothing but pain and dependency on alcohol and drugs and being mean to people. And I got to tell you, I'm going to tell you, as an entrepreneur, I do not make as much money as I did when I was working 9 to 5. I was making 6 figures in the corporate world. I was living comfortably, but I really wasn't at the same time. And it's really a matter of where society can ship you off based on the design structure that they put into this. Yeah. And it's crazy because no different than, Dooney talked with us and we talked about it at the top of this conversation with Prentiss. It's a mindset, and, you're only in prison if you let yourself, in my version of, confinement, let's use the word confinement. I was confined, in my battle with alcohol and my consumption of alcohol. I was confined to finding what I thought was the answers to the pain that I had growing up and coming through adulthood to take care of it with alcohol. And it wasn't, but that was my confinement. Poison was my confinement, no different than the walls that Prentiss finds himself behind right now. That's his confinement. And that's just society's way of trying to control the narrative. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion. Like I said, I'm in no way, shape, or form, because I can never. Nobody can ever compare their life and what they've experienced to somebody else's, right?
But I'm just using systematic.
It is systematic. So I don't know what are your thoughts on that, Discreet? You give a few thoughts, and then Prentiss, I want to come right back to you to get your thoughts on the thoughts that I just shared.
But it's like with everything. It's like the government needs a percentage of people to be in a position where they've got to work at a factory. Like, they've got to keep a percentage of people in prisons. They've got to keep a percentage poor because, who's going to work in the corner shop? Mm-hmm. If everyone rises up and it's sick. It's just like, why? Like, currency, the way currency makes the world go round, and money. And we don't need money to do what we do. It's all connected, but it's a fucking long story that makes it all just so fucked up. Where they feel like they need to put people like Prentiss in prison just to keep their system in order.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Prentiss, what are your thoughts, Prentiss?
Well, I think when you created what's called fear mongering.
Yeah.
You created with a sense of panic in everybody, right? And in that panic, you lose conscious of what it is reality, right? So if I create a panic and say, right now we're gonna have an earthquake and I need everybody to go from California to Texas, everybody's gonna panic and not even think that I don't need to go. I just need to go in my shelter. I need to go in my bunker. I need to go where I know I've been trained to get up under, a roof. A door area if an earthquake should happen. But the panic of psychological control over that individual or over that society mindset is how they have set us. So that is the mindset. They have us under a scarcity state of information and a false sense of authority over us. Because we only gave you the authority to make sure that the balance of justice stay within its proper balance, right? But based on we gave you that authority, you have exceeded it and put your own personal experience on it. And now it's off balance because you're judging off something that you may have experienced versus what the Constitution say to operate from. You see what I'm saying? So it's definitely something that we all need to really open our eyes about. You know what I mean? And understand that the ultimate power lies within you and the decisions that you make. And when I tell you like the decisions that we make, my brother's he should be still in here. My brother Eric Banks, 50/50. That was my brother. I love you, bro. He came in here and he said, "My man, make me proud." So I pray to God that I'm making him proud.
You are.
When I talked to him, recently we came up and some paperwork was filed on my behalf. And when I tell you, the information came back, it put me almost in a suicidal state because I never thought that the system can do something of such a magnitude, right? What I learned is that I got a copy of my abstract of judgment. It says at the time of the commission of crime, I did not use nor did I have a gun at the time of my crime. This is their documents, their status. So if this is your document that says I never had nor used a gun to kill somebody, why am I in prison, right? So, as I spoke earlier, they destroyed the evidence. So recently, someone filed some paperwork on my behalf using the Constitution under Article 10, saying, "Hey, we the people, we are pardoned for being actually innocent." And they sent the paperwork to the Innocent Project. Now, these are places that have set in place to fight for the innocent. Well, the California San Diego Innocent Project wrote a letter back to the person that filed the complaint and told them that upon looking upon these records and searching the Department of Correction and the Federal Bureau of Inmate Search, this inmate is not in custody.
What?
So how's I'm not in custody, but I'm in custody? So I said, let me post this to the public, because even stating something like this, that the public may think that this is not true. This can't be true, So I have my people post it on Instagram and say, this is the facts and the proof. Here's the abstract of judgment saying that he never killed nobody. Here's the statement that said that he's not incarcerated. You know what I mean? And then, they have his name spelled incorrect inside the prison system, which now anything that he may file within the governor's office or anywhere, knowing that this information now says that he doesn't exist, he's lost in the system. The matrix have him deleted, but his physical body is still present.
This gets crazier.
How do you how do you grasp from now, thinking back from the 18-year-old kid to 53 years old, I never had a chance because the system lost me.
Yeah.
And they and it's all about $100,000 a year for my body. So if I don't have nobody speaking up for him, if I don't hear nobody speaking up for him, I don't see nobody filing any paperwork on him, he's null and void, and he's a body that we can continue to use as a resource until he gets to the age he can't live here anymore, and we'll bury him by the way we know how. Cremate him and throw him across the prison yard. Because no one is going to claim him. So, you know, and I'm so honored. Like I said, I met you guys, you know what I mean, to tell my story to you guys. And y'all like, man, y'all need to take this to the public. And, you know, and I've been actively with the public, you know, telling them about it. And it's like the overwhelming support I have been given, you know, and, you know, we need to bring this to the awareness of our politicians. Awareness to our governors, awareness to activists, awareness to people that have that influence, you know, to say, hey, here it is, a guy like Prentiss Banks, a youth advocate mentor, a man that been in college, 2 different colleges, communication degree, and studying to get his leadership and management degree, an incarcerated youth advocate and mentor that sends kids to college, you know, he went to 6-year college, a Bible college, and got his diploma, and now is an ordained minister. You know, how is it that this man is never going to be acknowledged for any of his accolades because there's no mechanism in place to show it?
Yeah, it's mind blowing. This is, Mikey. Can we, even though this is on Prentiss's Live, can we still get this up on our YouTube channel? Because, like you said, people got to see this. If they have not seen it today, they've got to see it sometime.
Correct. I don't know if I'll have the ability to share it as a reel when we get off, but in a worst case scenario, as long as Prentiss shares this as a reel when we end it, then yes, I'll be able to get it and get it up onto our YouTube channel, because this needs to live somewhere permanently. We're definitely going to continue to have conversations, as many conversations as time allows, with Prentiss, because there's so many different layers and levels to this. And you know, to one thing that
I knew,
just mentioned.
Sorry, I'll quickly say, I knew we lived in a fucked up world, but this has just brought it to another level, Prentiss's story.
No, it is. And, you know, there are the right people out there, and they're, you know, coincidentally, you know, I look back at it, you know, things happen for a reason, right, in life. And 3 years ago, my wife and I started listening to, and then I told you about this podcast and shared it with you, Prentiss. I still got to reach out to Delia, but there's this woman by the name of Delia D'Ambro who runs a podcast called Counterclockwise. And she, there's probably like 7 or 8 seasons of this podcast. It's absolutely phenomenal, because she goes through the cases very similar to what we're talking about Prentiss's right now, and looks back at the cases from the past, and she starts to put together the pieces that are there, and then she starts to put together the pieces of the puzzle that are missing as well. So I already have I have her email. I got to get an email out, you know, to her, Prentiss. I'm going to be making sure that you're CC'd on that email. That way you can see all the back and forth communication going on, and we're going to appeal to her, because she's linked up with all the proper individuals to continue getting this story out. You know, she interviews all of the individuals that she's working for and with through these things as well. And this is a story that needs to be told on as many platforms as possible. And we need to get justice for Prentiss, because there's so many injustice has been served for 34 years at this point. That's factual.
Never have been in there in the first place.
Nope. And again, think about this. He said it earlier. The other people that were involved that night, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, Prentiss, you're the only one that's still sitting confined, right? At least for specifically that. We can't speak to anything that those individuals did after the fact. You know, the 2.5 years getting out, or the 13 years. But you're probably, I'm hypothesizing here, you're probably the only one confined right now from that night for those specific incidences that they're trying to throw the blame on you. Is my hypothesis correct there?
100% correct.
Why did I know that, Discreet? Why did I know that? Because that's the fucked up country and disgustingness of this system that we live in. Like, think about it. Think about this. Think about this. Think about this. Listen, man. And listen, I don't get into listen, people, before I say what I'm about to say, I don't care if you're Republican. I don't fuck with politics, man. To me, it's all shady. It's all bullshit. There's an agenda behind damn near every politician. And even if there's not when they get into politics, if you are in politics long enough, you are going to become part of that disgusting, corrupt system. And that's a motherfucking fact, right? So here's what I say. Look at our president. Look at our sitting president of the United States of America. Look at the video evidence of all the bullshit. We want to talk about evidence, right? Let's talk about evidence real quick. And I'm gonna talk on this. Prentiss is sitting confined for something that there's no evidence that he did. None. For the sitting president, not only has he already been felony convicted on 13 different counts, but there's further evidence of more things that continue to come out every day. So Discreet, and I want you to try and take a crack.
But that's our president. We're not locking him up.
Hold on. I want you to ask this. I want you to do your best to answer this question.
Yeah.
Discreet, from everything that I just said about the sitting president of the United States and all the shit that he's been convicted of and he's out there, let me ask you this, Discreet. As an outsider, meaning you don't live in America, you've never been to America, so you can only have an understanding of certain things, just like you can only have a certain understanding of what Prentiss has been experiencing for the last 34 years of his life. Yeah. And my question specifically to you is Discreet, because I know Prentiss already knows the answer to this question. So respectfully, I'm not asking for you to answer this, Prentiss. You can add any additional commentary that you would like, but I'm not going to ask you the question because you already know the motherfucking answer. But I certainly want your insights to what Discreet is about to answer. Discreet, answer me this question if you can. Why do you think, with everything I just said about the sitting president of the United States, that motherfucker is not sitting behind bars right now and Prentiss Banks is? Can you answer that question for me? Or at least try. There's no right or wrong answer. That's a question. That's a real question that I'm asking you as a citizen of the United Kingdom, where you live in Northam, Devon, there in South England specifically. Answer that for me as a non-U.S. citizen who's never set foot on American soil.
Yeah, well, it's power, isn't it? It's like, well, we're not locking him up because he's got a certain job we need him to do. It fits what our narrative. You know, it's the amount of paedophiles that are in high positions that don't get locked up because we need them, and you know they fit our agenda. Where if we lock this person up, well, we need to get a few more people in prison. And he fits the bill. We'll just stick it. There's no evidence. It doesn't matter. It's easy. It's so corrupt, right? And I come across this. I worked with this man once, right? And he said the most ridiculous thing to me I've ever heard in my life. He said there are no such things as conspiracies. The government always. He told me the government tell the truth. And I just looked at, I didn't even argue. I turned around and just walked away from him. And you are fucking mad. You don't think the government are doing shady shit? No, of course they're not. And I was just mind blown. This guy was about 20 years older than me.
Well,
and
I'll tell you this, you can't have conversation
Trump's not getting locked up ever. As long as he's president and as long as he's in politics, he will not get locked up. He could go out and rape a baby, and there'll be evidence for it, and he'll get away with it.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate your answer there.
But that's my answer.
No, I appreciate that. Prentiss, any other additional thoughts or insights that you just kind of want to talk on from the question specifically and the answer that Discreet had given there?
Well, what we have come to understand under the hidden immunity is a great deal in the United States. Those that operate from a different structure and function has a certain hidden immunity. So the rules of engagement of them is totally different from us.
Immunity, that is the word.
If I was to get into some trouble, I have already associates that I'm gonna be placed before to already have delegated this situation to close it out. You see what I'm saying? So I don't have those immunities.
No.
because I'm not of that stature.
No.
Yep.
You know what I
None
mean?
of us do.
And if you believe that you're a part of that stature, that's a false perception that you walk up under.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? It's
wild.
as simple. Yeah, it's as simple as a traffic ticket, right? So just think about this. It's simple as a traffic ticket. You got a $140 traffic ticket, right? But they can come and arrest you for a $140 traffic ticket. Why? Because it's deeper than the $140 traffic ticket. Because if you go back to the Western day, there was a bounty put out on you. That bounty is an insurance policy behind that ticket to make sure that you come and be present at the time that you're now adjudicating your ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't show up, you're coming in, we're sending the marshals out, whoever we got to come get you. Or when we find you, we put you in jail. Now, tell me, how is it that your body pays off a ticket without currency?
Yeah.
You gotta pay it somehow, some way, and they're gonna find a way.
Yeah.
And the way they found it is that there is an investment in us as society people. And they are operating that investment as CEOs. We are the worker bees of their agenda. We are the worker bees of their financial support. We are the worker bees of everything that's associated with it. As I said earlier, $100,000 per day or per year for me. It's 1,000 inmates on the yard that I'm on. $100,000 plus times 1,000 times 32 prisons in the state of California.
It's a lot of money.
That alone is a lot of money.
And what's crazy
why would I
about
stop?
this too? Oh, go ahead. No, please continue.
Yeah, cool.
Why would I stop incarcerating people or creating new policies that will incarcerate people to stop my money?
Exactly.
And what's wild about that, Discreet? Because I don't know if you know how it works in America. There's because what Prentiss is talking about, those 32 prisons in California, the majority, if not all of them, are public, right? They're ran by the government. Yeah. But we haven't talked about the private prisons here in the United States. You know anything about private prisons, Discreet?
Not in America, no.
So literally, just to continue to speak on what Prentiss was talking about earlier, and literally each body being worth a number, private prisons are so different than public in the sense that it's a private business. It's literally a private business. Somebody is saying, I'm going to build this business, and what their business is this building where they can incarcerate people. But again, it costs money to do that. So guess what? They find investors. Investors are putting money into these private prisons, and then these private prisons are getting filled with people so they can run their business. Let's even talk about it right now. The shit that we're seeing like through ICE with the alligator Alcatraz and all these detention centers. Man, I'm telling you right now, that's another form of a private, as fucked up as it is, and the fucked up things that are going on in these detention centers, those are private businesses running right now because there are people making money off of this shit.
Well, Trump said it himself. We're gonna gather them all up. We're not gonna deport them. We're gonna give the people or the farmers the responsibility to now take control of them. So you did what you have created is a new mechanism of slavery because you're capturing people, putting them up under someone else's authority as an overseer. To now you say they're never going to get citizenship, but they got to pay taxes and to stay here. You're not giving them home and shelter. You're not giving them anything but a place to work as a worker bee. And that's it. And if you violate that, the person that's overseeing, that I'm appointing to oversee you, is going to tell me, and I'm going to deport you. Because now you are a bad seed, and you can taint everything else that I'm telling these people to work and do to stay here.
Correct.
It's the narrative. we're talking about.
Yeah.
They created a new matrix and a new narrative. This is why he's attacking everything that deals with citizenship, birthrights, and everything, because he's taking it back to the government has control under servitude to now claim eminent domain over you.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how, as they say, we are a ward of the state under their language.
Mm-hmm.
And based on your award of the state, anytime that you come to us, we're going to treat you as if you're a child you don't know, and we're going to give you the best resources that we feel is possible. Well, the resources they gave me was 30 to 34 years of incarceration. And they still haven't figured out if those resources work for me or not, because they choose not to evaluate me because they lost me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but it's crazy because somewhere on the back end they're still making money on you. Somewhere on the back end,
yes,
even though you're not there, you're there. Because your number is there. You're a number on a piece of paper that has to be accounted for. So Prentiss Banks might not be accounted for, but your number's being accounted for because you gotta balance the books. You gotta balance the books in any business, right? That's a fact. And that's exactly what this is. Sadly, that's exactly what it is. One thing I want to make sure that we touch on, Prentiss, because I'm gonna have to start jumping out of here in just a little bit because I gotta go grab my daughter from camp here in a little bit. But this is important to talk about as well. With everything that you've been through the last 34 years, everything that the last 10 days from what you and I have spoke offline on, and you talked about it today with respect to, you know, reaching out to the Innocence Project that you had out that way, and then coming back and saying, well, you're not in custody. Like, so you've dealt with a lot of roller coaster of emotions. You've been confined against your will. True story. You've been imprisoned against your will. And we talk, bro, the smile, the radiance, the light that comes from you, bro. Like, I can just see your message come up in my DM sometimes, and it just brings a good feeling to me, bro. And I appreciate that, and I respect that, bro. So my specific question to you is, what's your why, bro? How, given all the fucked up bullshit that you've been put through the last 34 years, how and why do you keep that light and that fucking brilliant smile and that radiant smile of yours going, bro?
And that tone of voice.
Man, like that's a real question, bro. What's your why, bro?
Well, I like I said earlier, I took a journey in understanding who I and what I needed to become, and the experiences that I've had over generational traumas. I broke my generational curse. I broke the generational curse of the men of my family. You know, I broke the generational curse for the women to be able to have a better security of the men in our family. You know what I mean? And to have that such honor to carry that legacy is an amazing thing. So I had to understand from the birth child that I was to now who I am now. I'm so healed to the point where I feel like mentally I'm isolated because I'm so healed. I'm so protective over that healed space that I have. I overcame, and let me give this lady the ultimate props. Miss Nisha Walker, right? She is a certified trauma and recovery practitioner. She helps mentor women through abusive relationships and children. You know, she's amazing, right? And she's a lady that does not put dope in your system. She helped you navigate it the natural way, right? She gave me an experience that I, as a man, never thought I would ever take. And that is called a mother wound and a father wound. I never knew that I had a father wound ever in my life. The sense of what my father installed in me from what his father installed in him. And the life experiences that he had been through, all the pain and hurt, the cries and everything that he never got the opportunity to experience or vocalize was embedded into me. And I carried that. And I operated from that, from a hurt place, not from a healed place, from a hurt place. And when I learned that the decisions that I made to now see that those experiences weren't mine, and I can only live within my domain of experiences from the birth child to the 53-year-old man, I found my peace. So now everything that I have in me is to pour out of me, to give back. You know what I mean? That's why I'm reaching out to the youth. That's why I'm reaching out to the men, because, you know, this is a man experience that I have for men.
Right.
You know what I mean? I cannot speak on a woman experience. I can only speak on the man experience and how and what it means to take accountability for self without deflection. Right? So in understanding that, I'm in my purpose. You know what I mean? And when you understand, when you're fully dead on in a purpose, and you eat and breathe it every day, and you wake up and it's not about you. You're not pitying you. You know what I mean? Hell, I'm in prison and my mind is mentally free. And I'm looking through a lens, watching society mentally locked up, but their bodies are free. My body's locked up, your body's free, but you're mentally locked up, and your mental health is taking you down one at a time because you're so overwhelmed with so many different emotions. You have not given the opportunity to take time to resurface yourself. I got 34 years to resurface myself, and now I'm so at peace. Now I'm fighting to say, man, let my body go.
Yeah.
You know? So I love the man that I became. I love the man that I'm offering to society. I'm loving the man that, you know, I'm offering to the youth. I'm loving the man that my grandma, I look up my grandma, my granny, my mama, all of them rest in peace in heaven, you know, and it's such a blessing to know that they looking down me with integrity. In my system, you know? And it's one thing that I want to give the youth, right? And I really want to give this to them, and it's a jewel that I want you to take this for the rest of your life. Put that gun down, right? And the reason why I tell you to put that gun down is this simple fact, right? You're looking at a man that's been here 34 years. As I look to you today and talk to you today, I watched my mother exit her last breath out of her mouth. I didn't get a chance to see my mama, hold my mama for 34 years. I watched her die through a cell phone screen. That's something that I carry every day of my life. I watched my niece get murdered by somebody. And I carry that every day because I'm not there to protect her. I watch things in my life that I should never have experienced because I should be free to protect them from it. You see what I'm saying? So I talk to the youth and I explain to them the simple fact of this. If you really want to come where I'm at, I want you to try this process first. I want you to go into your bathroom. I want you to close that door, turn off the lights, sit in the middle of the floor, and first embrace the walls that's going to cave in on you. Because mentally, you're not going to be prepared for the closure of that wall. The mindset is going to tell you get out that bathroom, but you can't get out the bathroom because now there's no door handle to release you from that door. Think about the one thing that you love the most and put it on the outside that door and make it scream as loud as it can for your help and protection, and you can't get there. I've been hearing screaming and protection all my life for 34 years. At 53 years old, I still hear the screams and I cannot be present. So I give my life to them. You know, to sit back and one weekend your grandfather come up, tell you to be the legacy of your family, he go home and he lay rest. The following weekend your grandma come up, tell you to be a protector and overseer of the women of the family, she go home and lay rest. You know, how do you emotionally deal with that? We as men was never taught how to cope, delegate, or manage our emotional intellect, our emotional anything. We don't even understand the 6 cores of what it means to emotionally manage what we have inside of us. But we are quick to blame someone for our behaviors.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I tell the youth, and I want you, anytime that you're going through something in life, there's a resource out of it. Anytime you're going through life and you need something to encourage you not to participate, think of me.
Mm.
Anytime that you are with some friends and you hear that they're finna do something negative, think of me.
Yeah.
Because as quickly as that decision for you to not get out that car, as quickly as the decisions of the court that will give you where I'm at, and you would not be able to get out. I'm fighting for my life and the system has kidnapped me. And you don't think they would do the same to you?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, we have to do better as men. We have to do better as fathers. We have to get away from this gender war. We have to get away from all these things that causes our mindset to believe that we're not worthy enough to be fathers, or we're not worthy enough to be men or leaders in our communities. We are worthy of everything that our mindset and we make the decision to be.
Mm.
But it's up to you as an individual man to make that choice to make it exist.
Exactly.
And I challenge every man out there today, pause for a minute and make yourself matter.
Mm.
Heal yourself, love yourself, cherish yourself, find your value, because once you become a valuable man, everything about you becomes valuable. You respect it better, you cherish it more, you love it more, you pour into it more, because it's not about you anymore. You found you, the little boy that used to hurt and cry, you are fully in protection of him now. He's no longer crying. He's no longer feeling abandoned. He's no longer nothing. He's not a vulnerable individual anymore, because you have him protected in with your decisions and control. So now it's about the things that you have created, those that look up for you for guidance, those that look up for protection. You won't get so overwhelmed because you're not fighting for just you anymore and then trying to understand everyone else. You're fighting for them because you understand you.
Exactly.
You know, and man, it's such a blessing, man. I love, my smile is based on loving the world. It's loving the things that I do, loving the people that I meet. I have met more people that I have never think I ever meet. Celebrities, you guys, Moncio, Jay Burton, you know, all these individuals I never thought I would ever meet in my lifetime. I have met. My life has been fulfilled inside of a prison system. You know, my life, I think I have experienced more than I think I would ever have experienced being a free man. To find ultimate peace. I have seen beaches. I've seen England. I've seen London. I've seen everywhere across the world, sitting here looking through a lens. And I can say that I have traveled the world and heard everything that the world has to offer in love.
Yeah.
Man, bless up, bro. Bless up,
You
man.
know, so why would I not contribute back to that love? They're giving me love, so I'm contributing it back.
Isn't it? Oh,
But
And that's what we can control. And that's what we can control, man. And you're right. We have to be that conduit for the youth. I mean, obviously, you know what's going on with the Put the Guns Down movement, man. It comes to finding a different way. Coming in. It also comes to, you know, the fact that we have to, through our experiences, as you were saying earlier, we have to let them know that there's a better way. We also have to address, you know, the part of the mental health awareness that comes with that, right? Because if we just address that early on, then things will be better. We will take that number down from 685 people that are taken away from us every day worldwide from gun violence. We will get that number down. You know, a lot of people don't know this. Those that are unhoused, okay? Those that are unhoused, okay? And a lot of it, and I know this from statistics and people that work in this field, a lot of the reasons that people are unhoused is because of mental health.
Yeah.
That's that is the primary reason why we have unhoused individuals, at least in this country. I can't speak to other people. I'm sure at least some of that would be partly true in other countries.
Makes sense.
But they are unhoused because there's something not completely right with them one way or the other, and it's not being addressed. Like, mental health is an overall umbrella, and there's so many things that fall under that great umbrella. And we have to do a better job as a society, as the patriarchs, as the government, Discreet, as you were saying earlier, the ones that are supposed to put us in the best place to succeed. We can't count on them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can't depend on the government. You got to look inside yourself.
No, you can't. You can't. And I want to continue to have this conversation with you, Prentiss. We're gonna talk more offline because you're. Any family member that's watching this right now. We have always told you that the door is always open here on the We Outside Livecast. However, for Prentiss Banks, the motherfucking door is off the hinges. You can walk through that thing anytime you want, my brother. You just let us know so we could be at home with you. You feel me? But even if we're not there, bro, the door is off the hinges. You don't need no keys. You don't got to turn no knob. The door's off the hinges, bro. You walk in anytime that you want, my brother. Like, for real, man. For real.
Right.
And we appreciate you.
I want to say this, right? Before we all go. Anybody that want to help, you can go to my profile bio link. I have a petition there. You can sign my petition to help support. Or if you know anyone that has the resources or anything that wants
to I've already signed it.
Resources,
I've already signed it.
Good. You can provide a resource. You can always DM me personally if you any youth, anything that needs to be talked about out there. Please forward them to me. You know what I mean? But just keep my name in the circulation. If you see me post something, share it. You know what I mean? If you hear about anything, lawyers or anybody, hashtag Kim Kardashian, Meek Mills, the more we bring attention and awareness to the situation, the faster they will now be say, okay, it's time to bring this one home because the society's now calling for it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Somebody cares about this man, and now society's aware of the wrong that has happened to him. Because at the end of the day, it's about what they're fighting is more monetary than anything. Because the 34 years of being incarcerated, if we let him go and make the public known that he was wrongly convicted, now we have to put a monetary compensation against that. You know what I mean? So it's not about that with me. It's about me getting my freedom back. And if any monetary come, it's going to be paid forward back to the youth and to those that in need of it. You know what I mean? I'm happy. I just want to get back to those that love me as well as I love y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's do what we got to do, man, and work on it all together. Man, anything we can do to assist each other. Each one teach one. Each one assist one. Yeah. And don't be afraid to allow someone to use your resources because that resource is something that's going to benefit you in the long run because somebody's going to give you a resource.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Helping people, it comes back to you. Do you know what I mean? You do. Yep. I said it before. You do good things will happen.
Yes.
To you and in front of you. You do bad things will happen to you and in front of you.
Yeah.
Right.
No, absolutely. You're right, Discreet.
To the people that was trying to join the live, this was a live that talking about my case, talking about mental health, talking about how we can all unify together as one community and assist in the growth of each other, about talking to the youth about putting those guns down. And I want everybody to go watch that documentary, Put Your Guns Down, The World Epidemic by Ice-T, Terry C. Courtney, Suave Churchills, man, amazing, Justin, Justified, Smith. Oh, man, this is something that needs to be heard, seen, passed, shared, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we're looking at the epidemic of our youth out there killing each other to the degree at a high rate. And they're numb to the outcome and the results of it. And
Yeah.
we need to get to their attention. We need their attention. We need them to stop this because we're genociding our own people.
Exactly. That's what
And
gets
it's
me
not
is
just-
how the youth in America, they can kill someone and it's just not a big thing. It's like, what the fuck? You just took someone's life away, and it doesn't seem to matter that much, and that is crazy. That mindset needs to change.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we're gonna definitely build on this, and whenever you and the other good brother is ready to build on something new, I'm available at all times, man. Y'all can always call upon me, and I love you guys, man, and I appreciate.
We
y'all.
love you, brother. Thank you.
And
I'm gonna end it from my end on this point. We love you right back, bro. That's fucking true. That is so true. I appreciate human beings like you, bro. Like, for real. And I appreciate the vulnerability. I appreciate everything that you shared about your story and your case and your scenario. You will continue to have support from us. You and I got to talk offline on something that we were kind of briefly talking on yesterday anyways. I'm going to go ahead and handle what I got to handle with my daughter here and go pick her up from camp in a little bit. But again, I would love to have this conversation again with you on the We Outside Livecast. Everybody, just for what y'all know, Prentiss, please make sure that you share this as a reel when we end the livecast. That way I can go back, record it. And because this conversation is going to live on our YouTube channel, it's the @We Outside Live podcast on YouTube. The link is in our bio. I just dropped our @We Outside Live. So if y'all want to go over to our go over our page, please like, subscribe. Normally, and here's the thing. It doesn't matter how we had this conversation today, right? What's important is we had this conversation. But typically these conversations and conversations like this are coming from the We Outside Livecast. So if you're tapping in to this conversation from the We Outside Livecast, and this is your first time learning about our brother Prentiss Banks right here and his story, what I'm requesting y'all to do is go ahead and follow this man, learn more about his story. If you happen to have any resources of people that you know can help once you learn more. And again, if you want to learn more, you can go directly to him. Shoot him a DM. Follow him. We talk to him on a regular basis. So hit him up, especially if you got some assistance that you can offer to him. Please do it. This is a human being who has been wrongly convicted with literally no evidence. No evidence for 34 years, man. That's fucked up. So all we can ever hope is that this message today is the message that finally reaches the right person who can take us over that threshold to get you free from your confinement, my brother. And that's what it's about. And you will continue to have our support in any way that we can provide support as a resource to you. We thank you for this today. This conversation is going to live on the YouTube. Once Prentiss shares this, when we're done here today, you got to give me some time. I got to go handle my daughter. I got to come back, record it, and get it up to YouTube. But if everything goes on in a perfect world, I will have this up onto the YouTube channel no later than either this evening or tomorrow morning. All right? So if you're just tapping in, or you tapped in at a point where it wasn't the full conversation, you want to hear more, know more, learn more, it's going to be on the We Outside Live podcast channel. All right? So we appreciate you, Prentiss.
And I definitely,
so
today after I charged up my phone, I will probably be going live again if anyone wants to, come up and talk or whatever it may be. Because I know I see like a lot of messages right here that say they would like to come live. But, definitely I would give you that opportunity on the new live later today after I fully charge up the phone, and let's enjoy it.
Better my brother. You have a beautiful day. I know you're going to, because it's about the mindset, and you made that very as clear as the day is, at least somewhat, here in Kansas City today. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your time, your insights, your information, everything they shared with us. We definitely want to do this again. And I'm just going to say it one time before we exit this live. Make sure you share that live. That way I can go re-record and put it out there everywhere possible.
Man, as soon as I get out here, I'm pushing the share button. I'm not even tapping no information. I'll come back and put the information in later. I'm just tapping
afterwards. There you go. My brother, we appreciate you. I will get with you later. Discreet.
All righty.
I will talk to you later too, my brother. Y'all be good. All love, all respect, all the time, and everybody that tapped in for this conversation today. We thank you as well. Very, very sincerely. Maybe y'all could have been scrolling your feeds and went and looked at anything the fuck else out there today. And you stopped in for a very important and necessary conversation to learn about somebody's story who has been wrongly convicted and in prison for 34 years. And that's something that we need to get out as much as possible. Sincerely, you can't get time back. So we thank you for sharing your time with us. Prentiss, my brother, I'm going to get at you later, dog.
All right.
Thank you,
All love. All
Thank
love.
you so much.
All right. Love you guys, man.
Love you too, bro. We'll talk later.
Love you too.
All right.
Peace.
Oh. All righty, y'all. Man, look, I so love y'all. I so love y'all support. I so love everything that y'all continue to do and provide, you know, me out of love and respect, you know, and I pour in back into you guys as much as I can, you know what I mean? And so if anything I can ever do for you, feel free to hit me up and let me know, man. I love y'all guys, man, and I'm going to reshare this, man, and I'll be back up soon.
Burtons or the Fremontiers or anybody out there. But when we talk about the programming, right? Let's look at it from this perspective. Prentiss was put into the program of this fucked up and corrupt justice system and this programming that's already been laid out. No different than I, growing up, from a societal standpoint, was told, go to school, go to college, get your degree, go work that 9 to 5. That 9 to 5 is as much programming as anything else in this world as well. I've been an entrepreneur now for 7 years. And very similar to how Prentiss was talking about, the last 4 years since, I'm an alcoholic. I haven't drank any alcohol in almost 4 years at this point, right? But I will always be an alcoholic, and I got to win every single day at a time. But what society told me to do and go work that 9 to 5, it's a dead end. It's really a dead end because you're just a number. You're just a number when it comes down to it.
They want you to build their infrastructure.
That's exactly what it is, Discreet. Some people are put into the programming in the system like Prentiss was.
Yeah.
Some people are programmed in over a long period of time to go into a scenario of what I did, which was horrible for me. It was horrible at the end of the day. It brought me nothing but pain and dependency on alcohol and drugs and being mean to people. And I got to tell you, I'm going to tell you, as an entrepreneur, I do not make as much money as I did when I was working 9 to 5. I was making 6 figures in the corporate world. I was living comfortably, but I really wasn't at the same time. And it's really a matter of where society can ship you off based on the design structure that they put into this. Yeah. And it's crazy because no different than, Dooney talked with us and we talked about it at the top of this conversation with Prentiss. It's a mindset, and, you're only in prison if you let yourself, in my version of, confinement, let's use the word confinement. I was confined, in my battle with alcohol and my consumption of alcohol. I was confined to finding what I thought was the answers to the pain that I had growing up and coming through adulthood to take care of it with alcohol. And it wasn't, but that was my confinement. Poison was my confinement, no different than the walls that Prentiss finds himself behind right now. That's his confinement. And that's just society's way of trying to control the narrative. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion. Like I said, I'm in no way, shape, or form, because I can never, nobody could ever compare their life and what they've experienced with somebody else's, right?
But I'm just using systematic.
It is systematic. So I don't know what are your thoughts on that, Discreet? You give a few thoughts, and then Prentiss, I want to come right back to you to get your thoughts on the thoughts that I just shared.
But it's like with everything, it's like the government needs a percentage of people to be in a position where they've got to work at a factory. Like, they've got to keep a percentage of people in prisons. They've got to keep a percentage poor because, who's going to work in the corner shop? Mm-hmm. If everyone rises up and it's sick. It's just like, why? Like, currency, the way currency makes the world go round, and money. And we don't need money. to do what we do. It's all connected, but it's a fucking long story that makes it all just so fucked up, where they feel like they need to put people like Prentiss in prison just to keep their system in order.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Prentiss, what are your thoughts, Prentiss?
Well, I think, when you created what's called fear mongering,
Yeah.
you created with a sense of panic in everybody, right? And in that panic, you lose conscious of what it is reality, right? So if I create a panic and say, right now, we're going to have an earthquake and I need everybody to go from California to Texas, everybody's going to panic and not even think that I don't need to go. I just need to go in my shelter. I need to go in my bunker. I need to go where I know I've been trained to get up under, a roof, a door area if an earthquake should happen. But the panic of psychological control over that individual or over that society mindset is how they have set us. So that is the mindset. They have us under a scarcity state of information and a false sense of authority over us.